pain, panic. Got a little riddle for you. How do you kill
Amethyst Ruby?
I do not know. You can't. They're immortal?
Bingo! They're immortal! So, first you gotta turn the little sunspot mortal.
To the secret lab! If you've been playing on Pixelborn any time in the past few months, or gone to one of the many Lorcana tournaments held, or even just paid attention to the results, you'll notice a common theme. Everyone is playing Amethyst Ruby Control. It's so bad that even having never played the deck myself, I could rattle off to you the exact current deck composition based purely on having played against it so often. Olaf and Minnie, always classy, Teeth and Ambitions, Madam M Snake, Madam M Fox, Sorcerer's Friends on the other side, Minnie and Mouse, Stylish Surfer, Merlin Goat, Merlin Rabbit, Maui here to all, Lady Tremaine, Imperious Queen, Be Prepared, Ursula, Maleficent, Monsters Dragon, and a single copy of Sorcerer's Spellbook. There are also more aggro versions that run more 1-drops, as well as Arthur Wizard's Apprentice and Merlin Crab, but that's the main vibe of this deck. Play your 1/3 1-drop turn 1, Teeth and Ambitions turn 2 to kill the enemy 1-drop while yours survives, or Mim Snake if they don't play one, then just use your Mims to endlessly cycle your Merlins and Lady Tremaines. You constantly have a full grip of cards, letting you always have an answer to whatever your opponent does. Do they have a big board? Be prepared. Do they have only one character? Lady Tremaine. It makes it infuriating to play against, and it honestly doesn't even seem that fun to actually pilot. So, how do we deal with this deck that is such a huge chunk of the meta? My first thought was the Emerald Ruby Evasives deck I've discussed before, particularly since Rise of the Floodborn gave us some great new cards in Stylish Surfer and Ray, but you absolutely have to win before turn 7, or Be Prepared just ruins you. If you miss a 1 or 2 drop, you're just screwed. But what is the main strength of Amethyst Ruby? It's the card draw, the full hand. So, what if we took that away? Enter this deck. Emerald, Steel, Discard. The premise is simple. Make sure your opponent does not have a hand. The main way we do that is by using Bucky, Squirrel Squeak Tutor, and playing Floodborn. To that end, we run all the good, cheap Floodborn. Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman, Jafar, Dreadnought, Beast, Tragic Hero, and perhaps most importantly, Flynn Rider, his own biggest fan, and who can net us a lot of lore if we can manage to fully empty our opponent's hand. To benefit from all this discarding our opponent does, we also run Prince John, greediest of all, to ensure we always have a nice full hand. To complete the discard package, we run Sudden Chill, Flynn Rider, Charming Rogue, Hypnotize, and Lucifer, Cunning Cat. Since we're in Steel, we should take some direct damage tools to deal with opposing boards, so we run Let the Storm Rage On and Grab Your Sword, which are handily singable by our Floodborn. We also run Bibbity Bobbity Boo, as flickering our Floodborn gives Bucky extra triggers, and we can also flicker Lucifer. Even with an empty hand, Bibbity Bobbity Boo also functions as a heal, as hopping out of play and back in removes damage counters. We then round things out with some 1-drops. Flynn Rider, Confident Vagabond as a shift target for his own biggest fan, and Forceful Duelist as a backup for turn 1. Now, this deck has a lot of uninkables, so as another piece of tech, we'll also slot in Benja, Guardian of the Dragon Gem, in case our opponent manages to play a Sorcerer's Spellbook. Now, if you can count, you'll notice that this is 16 different cards, so 4 of them will have to be only 3 copies, which, along with Benja, will be 3 of our uninkables: Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, Lucifer, and Let the Storm Rage On. The ideal curve of this deck is turn 1 Confident Vagabond, turn 2 Bucky, turn 3 Prince John, turn 4 shift out his own biggest fan, hardcast Sudden Chill, have Flynn sing Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to either flicker himself or swap himself out for Jafar or Donald. That will be 3 discard triggers and 3 draws off of Prince John. If you're up against an Amethyst Ruby deck, there's nothing they can do to stop your setup because Bucky and PJ have Ward, and Confident Vagabond is too strong to kill with Teeth and Ambitions. Just make sure not to quest even if the board is empty, because Amethyst and Ruby are the rush colors. You don't want to lose Bucky or PJ until your opponent's hand is already empty. Now, on the off chance you're facing literally any other deck, you can be a bit more flexible in your play, but the same general build order works. Steel also can't get around Ward until at least turn 4 with either Spectacular Singer or Giant Fairy, Sing and Grab Your Sword, so if you're going first, you'll still be able to pull it off, but if you're going second, you may want to be less greedy and have your 2-drop Sing Sudden Chill on turn 3, so you at least get something out of PJ. Looking ahead to Into the Inklands, we're at the very least getting Ursula Deceiver, which should only make this deck even more consistent, as will any more 4 or 5 cost Emerald or Steel Floodborn. As long as Amethyst Ruby control has an oppressive presence in the meta, there will be a need for discard. Keep an eye out for my next video, which will showcase some gameplay of this deck in action!